When it comes to getting their agenda done, these politicians are very sneaky about it. And they like to put people between a rock and a hard place and tug on the sympathy heartstrings, the sympathy chords, in order to see if they can get their agenda passed through that way. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Zach, the WretchedWatchmen, and bringing you a little bit of news when it comes to digital IDs and protecting children. And yeah, something that I've talked about in the past, which seems to be heating up a little bit more, has to do with protecting kids from social media, from predators, and from pornography websites through age verification. And I've warned about how they're going to try and use kids, the protection of kids, to tug on the heartstrings of people in order to go along with getting a digital ID in place through it. And I've talked about in the past, Senator Josh Hawley was one that was doing it, where we got to protect the kids. So in order to do that, we need to make sure that we can verify everybody's ID by scanning their government ID and creating a digital ID from it in order to protect the kids, and so on and so forth. And so they're continuing to do this, and we're seeing more and more of it taking place, not just here in the United States, but all over the world, in fact. So I'm going to bring you a little bit of news when it comes out of Florida and out of Canada when it comes to protecting the kids and digital IDs, and how they're using this to put people in a rock and a hard place of trying to get stuff passed. So let's take a look, and we'll kind of go from there and see what's up. So it says Florida lawmakers passed social media age verification online ID law, ignoring constitutional concerns. It says Florida's legislative bodies have passed a bill mandating online ID checks and age verification, even though critics say it raises constitutional, that is, First Amendment issues tied primarily to privacy and anonymous speech. They would be correct. The bill, Online Protections for Minors, was passed late last week with a 108-7. It's pretty unanimous there vote in the House after the 23-14 vote, a little bit closer there, from the state Senate. Republicans and Democrats are on both sides of the fence, some supporting and others opposing it. So if we take a look at the bill, it's from Florida State Senate. It made it all the way to the governor's desk, but was vetoed by DeSantis. So this thing did not pass. It was indeed vetoed. But basically what they were trying to do in order to protect kids, quote unquote, protect the children, they would need online verification to enter things like social media websites or pornography websites and whatnot, to make sure that you are the right age to do it. And if they're too young for an ID, then the parent would need to give up their ID to prove that they are not only in the guardian of that child, but they are of the age and they are giving permission and consent for the child to do it. You see how this is a slippery slope? On top of that, how do you define social media? If social media is anything that involves just a comment section, well, even websites like CNN and Fox that have comment sections would be classified as social media. So are you going to need to verify your age in order to access online news articles like that? You see what I mean? This opens up a can of worms when it not only comes to, you won't be able to be anonymous online anymore. You're giving up your ID, creating a digital ID to do so, and you're now starting to figure out what classifies as social media, and then they can just start blocking off any websites that has chat or comments or anything like that. This is a dangerous thing, and they're using the kids to make it happen. I've warned about this before. Twitter's doing the same thing. I think it's Instagram that's doing the same thing. You can verify yourself by uploading your ID, and in the case of Twitter, you have to give them your bank account as well. You're just creating an online digital profile, and you're no longer anonymous. You start attaching things like social credit to this, and you've got a serious problem in the making, because whatever you post, they can attach it to your social profile through your digital ID, and then they can shut you down that way. There's so many things when it comes to this, but they're going to use the kids. They're going to use the kids to make this happen. Fascinating. Now let's jump over to Canada, see what they got going on. It says Canada's conservatives realize they can't be anti-digital ID and pro-online age verification. This is what I've been talking about. It says the Canadian press first cited opposition leader Pierre Poilievre. I don't think I pronounced that correctly, but it's the best you got. And others from his party as saying the conservatives support Bill S210 that would ask for online platforms to somehow verify that those accessing porn sites are in fact of age. But the problem was never the intent, rather the way to technically achieve this while refraining from infringing on people's privacy, such as asking for their government-issued ID and the like. Goes on to say, so how does one do it? The report, somewhat logically, asserted that a digital ID might do the trick. After all, that solution is meant to hoover up so much personal information into one centralized place, somebody's age would be the least of it. There it is. I've been talking about this for over a year now. I've been warning people that they're going to continue to try and push this along to protect the kids. They've used kids in the past to make their agendas go through, and they're going to continue to do such anyways. It's kind of fascinating how they want to protect kids from social media and online pornography, but they have no problem passing laws for them to change their gender and mutilate their bodies to do so. Yeah, that's really protecting the kids, isn't it? But yeah, I just wanted to point this out to you guys. They're continuing to do this. Keep an eye on your states. I believe, is it Utah? I think it's Utah, of course. Utah, the Mormon state over there that has something in place like this already, I believe. But yeah, this isn't going away. They're going to continue to push it. So keep an eye on your state, because each state is doing their own thing. And then if you're in like Canada or somewhere in Europe, or if you're down under, keep an eye. They're going to continue to do this, especially when things continue to get digitalized with biometrics and whatnot. The digital ID is coming, especially since you need a digital ID if you're going to do a CBDC or a digital currency. So they're going to need to get this in place one way or another. Is this how they do it? Maybe. We'll see what happens. So just want to let you know what's going on. Don't fear, though. That's the biggest thing. We can't fear. This is going to happen. We know it's going to happen. I know a lot of people ask, how do we stop this? How do we avoid this? We can't. We can't. I know that's hard to hear sometimes. We can't. But the most important thing to understand is while they're watching us, God is watching them, and God's in full control. We got nothing to worry about. Does that mean that we don't, or that we just go along with this as soon as they offer it? No, I'm not saying that. But don't worry or fret or fear or panic about if it does go through and you have to go along with it. God's got you. He's got you this far. He's not going to abandon you now, especially since he's given us our blessed hope. He's going to send his son Jesus to come and snatch us away before things get really bad. So just keep that in mind. Continue to spread the gospel. Don't fear and warn people of what's coming. And be aware of the sneaky tactics of what they're doing. It's a uniparty out there. And the right is heavily pushing the protection of kids, and they're trying to introduce digital ID to do it. Keep that in mind. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it right here. You guys have a great rest of your week. Peace out and Maranatha.